Hey, good morning, students. This is Shridi Meka, your instructor for your finance class. Today is November 12th, 6:30 a.m. Actually, today I have a conference to attend, and I don't that shouldn't stop the show. I uploaded the material for the behavioral biases class. I'm going to talk about the bias classes. Actually, I said I uploaded the material for the class. Please read through. It's easy material. The reason I'm covering this is uh, we all have some kind of biases in our life. The financial behavior, when it comes to due to the behavioral issues, the financial decisions we take not tend to be optimum. Some of them are really bad. Some of them um, can be corrected. So the errors we go through and emotional biases. And first thing comes from there are two types of biases. One of them comes from cognitive errors, and the other one is the emotional biases. So the cognitive errors are the reason we take the wrong decisions because if we do not have appropriate information. So the information, whatever we have, we take decisions the best available based on the best available information. So you saw the ad on TV that some Skylab mortgage company is going to give you 30-year mortgage for 7%. And you clicked on that. Then there is another ad came because cookies read your behavioral pattern. And then another ad came up that said like 7.5% interest for 30-year mortgage. And while you're checking your Facebook and chit chat, whatever KitKat, whatever the websites, and then another ad came and is going to give you 6.75% to based on the score all the way to 8.5%. So you did know the best available probably was the 6.5%. Depends on your credit rate, and you applied your mortgage for refinance at the Skylab mortgage. So you took the best decision based on the information you got through the web ads. But the reality is the next door patriotic Memphis Bank, they are offering for University of Memphis students because all the alumni association, the CEO is from U of M. Any student from any candidate, as long as the University of Memphis alumni, they're going to give you the best rate at 6%. And but you did not know that information based on the information you have, you took the optimum decision of 6.5% from the Skylab mortgage, whatever, versus you could have taken advantage at had you known the information, the local bank, the Patriotic Memphis Bank, they could have given you for 6% rate. So those are the things unknowingly we do the mistakes because we do not have proper information. The next thing is emotional biases. Emotional biases are stem from the emotions, the feelings, our belief system. So those are the things, it gives us some kind of a false illusion of our power. And we take the decisions based on that. So some of the things is my state, we have the best living conditions compared to all the neighboring states. All the people come to our state to do the business. What kind of business? So, what kind of opportunities? Don't you think other states don't have the similar kind of resources? They may have the edge in certain ways, but you always think you're far better than the others. Uh, some people, so much emotionally attached to the university football team. Yes, just giving an example. University of Memphis football team was really good, super good. We're so attached to that. And we think we can easily beat Ole Miss and the next door, or maybe Alabama, Roll Tide. I mean, that's our attachment to the university. But it's nothing wrong. But when you are taking decisions, especially business decisions or financial decisions, though University of Memphis is great, there may be some other teams. A couple of times, University of Memphis, barely lost the football game. So there are chances we are not the best. We could be the best, but there's no such thing called perfect world. Yeah. So those are the things, especially when you are investing money, especially you're investing other people's money, you have to be extremely careful. You got to be careful when you manage your hard-earned money. When when you are managing other people's money, you have extra responsibility, additional responsibilities. So that's why we need to identify what kind of biases we have, and we need to balance it and counterbalance it and slow it down or mingle it, manage it, and address them. And if we make the mistake, mistakes are human. We got to identify our mistakes and we need to correct it. We need to work on it. That is the purpose of this behavioral finance class. So let's dive into cognitive errors and emotional biases, and we discuss on each in one section. So what are the cognitive errors? Cognitive errors, as I said, they come from statistical information, reasoning deficiencies, and results to faulty memory and flawed analysis. Leads to the decisions are suboptimal decisions. You take the decision, as I said, like the mortgage, rate decision, but that's not the optimum decision. Given the information, you took the best information, but that's not the optimum. It's a suboptimal. So when we come to that, we need to look into the global picture, not just the local picture. And also, the other type of the cognitive errors are two types, right? Perseverance, and the tendency to cling to the prior beliefs. And the other one is the information processing. So error in processing the information what we have. And let's dig into the belief preservation biases. Perseverance bias is one of them is a conservatism. Conservatism is a reluctance to change beliefs despite the new evidence. You initially fall in love with the FedEx stock, and you think, I mean, as a great investor, Fred Smith started the firm, and the company grew leaps and bounds. And you always thought the company is going to give you at least a 10 to 12% return, no matter what. And they have the 4% dividend and all that things. But then later, you came to know the tariffs are impacting the trade, global trade, and FedEx is going to the layoffs. These are all hypothetical cases I'm talking. And there are a lot of reorg is going, restructuring is going, and you still stick to the old belief. And there is some kind of LTL light truckload is divested by, FedEx is divesting. So, but you don't take all that information. You still stick to that company as a growth company. The company is, if you initially you have the some kind of belief this company is like growth firm, and fiscally it's always strong. But you need to look at the balance sheet might have changed. You need to ready to take that information. Don't stick to that original base information. The next one is the confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is, let's say you wanted to buy Fly High stock, and you think this is a great company, great stock, and you're thinking of buying. It doesn't matter the fundamentals or whatever, but you are thinking of buying. And all of a sudden you turned on your CNBC TV, and then Jim Cramer said, "Oh, buy this Fly High company, buy, buy, buy." And he kept on saying that. then you are so much faith on Jim Cramer than the company itself. Just because the guru, the financial guru, also TV anchor guy, told that company is going to be great. I mean, when I have respect for Jim Cramer, but I'm just giving an example. So you fall in love with that firm and you buy it, and it flies high. And then the next week, all of a sudden, it'll tank because one of the big investors dumped that company. So pay attention to that. Don't fall for the confirmation bias. Just because some investment guru said something is great, not necessarily it's real. But you need to do your due diligence and you work on that. You got it? So representative bias. This is kind of a opposite to the conservative bias, conservatism bias. And you have the original belief system, and you have the confirmed this company AutoZone is going to be great, and AutoZone consistently giving 19% return. And so far they bought like a $25 billion worth of stock back, and their fundamentals are great, and they're buying back, and they don't give dividends back. They're buying leftover, right? And they're giving 19% return for historically. And then all of a sudden you heard the news, um, the CEO resigned, and Bill Rhodes is a great guy, but he is in chairman position, but he's not a CEO anymore. All of a sudden, you get concerned and scared, and then and so try to pull the trigger to sell. Then you got to be, yeah, then you miss the boat because the historical Brighton company is growing, and they're expanding in Brazil, they're expanding in Mexico, and they're also selling in US and expanding into the multiple areas. And the cars, typically a car age is right now 14 years. Used to be 9 years, 7 years, 8 years. Now it's extending. And people driving for long, long, long time. So there's so much breakage, the brakes, wiper blades, engine oil, brake pads, uh, maybe batteries, the car battery packs, and all those things. So there is a big need for them. So their business is not changing. So, but you're hang on to that. The new news, whatever it popped up in the Wall Street Journal, and you did not do your due diligence, you may sell your product. So that's what you got to be careful. The other one is illusion of control, overestimating influence of the outcome. You being super smart and you took a coin. Let me put a dice. Dice has six faces, and we are rolling the face, and you are getting even numbers all the time. And you roll the dice 20 times, happen to be 15 times, and they're all even numbers, let's say. And then you think because of your spinning capacity, somehow when you do that, your chances of getting even numbers are 75%, you know. So out of 15 out of 20, it's like a 66%, right? No, 75%. Yeah. So you think your spinning capacity gets you 75% of the time as even numbers. But the truth is they have equal number of even numbers and odd numbers in a dice. Your chances when you do like 100 times, you'll eventually reach out to 50%. So you don't have any control on the outcome. Or you have the stock you invest always go up when you buy on Tuesday. So people have those kind of things. So we don't have any illusion, but and you don't have control, but it's all illusion of the power. But you got to be realistic. Then you look at the odds. You don't have 75%. You have odds of 50%, right? And what's the odds of winning blackjack? Little less than 50%. House always have an edge, right? So those are the things you need to be controlled. You got to be watch out. The hindsight bias is believing past events are predictable in the sense, and the month of October, usually stocks are get into correction. So what people do think is, every historical stuff, the market corrections happened in October. So that you keep that in mind. So what you do is, and because October stocks are going to go down and you start selling in September. So if you are selling in September, do you think the whole market was going to wait until October? Think about it. So past is not the guarantee of the future, right? So I cannot guarantee my returns are 20 plus per past 10 years. But if I go and tell my clients I'm going to get you 20 plus returns for next 10 years, that's ridiculous. Nobody knows, right? So even Warren Buffett says there is no guarantee in the past returns are no guarantee for the future returns. I mean, no one can predict, and you shouldn't be overconfident either. So that's what is you need to address those kind of things if you have that bias. We need to, anytime you take a decision, you need to look into these kind of things. The next one, I'm talking about information processing biases. What is the, what we happens in if you don't process anchoring and adjustment bias, relying heavily on the initial. So basically, you anchor, it's kind of related to conservatism, the one I talked before. You anchor to the original thought process, but you do not adjust as the new information is coming. So that's why you see the quarterly reports and the annual reports and all that. So that's why I encourage so many of you to read when you are doing your project. So just don't go by the past 10K statements. You need to watch the 10Q statements and listen to the what CEO and CFO is talking about and what's the company is talking about. Those are the things you need to look into the when you're taking the decision making. The next one is mental accounting bias. Mental accounting bias is people break their objectives into tranches, like multiple pieces. Oh, I wanted to invest this money is for house payment. This money I wanted to save it for my credit card payments. This money I wanted to put for my investing. And whatever the money you put and you have investments based on your target or each target. But while you are doing, you may have the too much concentration of certain things, and you need to look for the how the investments in one branch to other branch how correlated they are. But end of the day, it doesn't matter how many branches, how many tranches you put. When you add together, that's all your money. So you got to think like that. You may have a 401k account, you may have IRA account, you may have investment account. But at the end of the day, each account I manage it in different way. Yeah, you could do that, but at the end of the day, that's all your money, right? That's exactly you need to focus on how my overall portfolio is performing. And so do not just break it down, but you need to look into the global picture. That's what you need to look into. The next one is the framing bias. Framing bias is, I would say, if there is a FDA report came on, like there are trial error going on, then a trials going on like a pharmaceutical company. Let's say they one of the product it says just by taking this product 90% people died, and versus the same information, those who are about to die when they take this trial medicine, 10% of them were survived. So that's the thing. You got to look at it like half bottle is empty or half bottle is full, bottle half empty or bottle half full. You got to look into that. And when people, especially media, they have the political bias, they twist the information and they frame it in a way so they, let's say you have a conservative bias. Some TV channels, they spin the news that fits into their pattern of the watchers. Same thing, let's say you have some liberal view and they tend to put the things in different way. I'm just giving an idea. It's not the liberal or conservative, but don't get me wrong in the sense, you know. Media knows how to frame the data, how to frame the information. So you got to look into that. Is it a half full or half empty? Or is the information is framed in a such a way to fit into their perspective? So that's what those kind of things you need to look for. The next one is the availability biases, emphasizing on the recent information. As I said, availability is as simple as it is. We just ignore the past. So whatever happened in the recent, so that is the information we remember and we'll go on that path. So those are the things from information processing errors. The next one is the emotional biases. Emotional biases are extremely it's tough to correct than the cognitive errors because we're emotionally attached. My the car I drive, my Tesla is the best. All other electric cars are dumber. Those people who drive the producing, polluting diesel cars or gasoline cars are the bad people. Yeah, yeah, you ride a horse. But you got you got to be careful what we believe in. So certain things we have so emotionally so much. You may be tree hugger, nothing wrong, but you got to look into the other side. But some of them it's tough to change, driven by the feelings than the logical analysis. So as I said earlier, you are a coffee drinker. You may say, "Hey, coffee is the best." Why in the hell people drink tea in England? Yeah, it's a cultural norm, right? Why people drink coffee early in the morning. Yeah, commercialization, Starbucks, whatever. Or, you get the free coffee pot when you go to office, Yeah, I mean, because the office wants you wake up and drink coffee and pay attention to the work, whatever. So bottom line is we got to be careful when we do the analysis, especially emotional biases. So, emotional biases are loss aversion, overconfidence, self control bias, status quo bias, endowment bias, and regret aversion bias. So, loss aversion bias is we cling to the losses more than the winners. Let's say you bought a stock for $100, it dropped to 50%. The first thing people say in my business, oh, I'll sell it once it recovers back. Nah, good luck. It never returns back to $100. So rather bite the bullet, sell it, move on. That could be a stinky stock and it could be bad. Business could be bad. Just don't wait until things could turn around and that kind of thing. One of the days, one of my clients said, "Oh, I'm Srini. I wanted to put 100,000 more into my account, but I've been trading my own. It was like 100,000. Now that stock dropped to $30,000. Once it recovered back, then I'll give it to you." I told him. Her, I doubt it will come back. Actually, it's not stock, it's some kind of a cryptocurrency, whatever she was talking. So, those kind of things you got to be careful. And the same thing with the loss aversion. People, when they make profits, rather than letting the profits run, they take the profit, like, little bit profit, and because they don't want to lose, they sell it and move on. That's a as I said, Peter Lynch said, watering the weeds, cutting the flower bed. So those kind of things, we all go through the loss aversion biases. So we got to be careful. The next one is overconfidence bias. As I said, overconfidence is um, if you hit a couple of runs, you think you feel you're confident. One of the guys I know, he's a real estate guy, one of the friends I know, and he was telling me other day, and he got into the investment world, and he said Last year my returns are 100%. And he started in 2020 COVID time, and 2020 his returns are 70%. 21, I think he got like around 20 to 30% returns. And he used to say, once I invest, I could easily make like a 30, 40% return a year. I didn't say anything because I'm a school of hard knocks. And 2022 came, he got pounded, literally lost more than 70%. And then he was in the game, and 23, then he made it 23, 24. He had good years. And this is 2025. Again, he said, oh, I have a confidence. I can easily make a couple of 100,000. And just by the stock market, I learned how to navigate the ups and downs in investing. And I mean, he does no research. He doesn't have any background in the finance or anything to do with that. But all he does is whatever he see in the Robinhood, what are the best 100 stocks, whatever he buys and sells. When the market drops, he doubles down, those kind of things. I try to explain how market works, and he thinks, oh, financial literacy and all that kind of totally it doesn't make sense for him. The market is goes by the hunch, and he's so confident about managing the money. So I said, good luck with your investing. That's the way it is. The overconfidence works. But we need to look into are we overconfident? Are we doing the things with the overconfidence? Am I doing an error? So that's what it is. That stems from there. The next step is self-control bias. People think I have the control on the stuff what I am doing, and but people do not save enough money when it comes to in personal finance. Um, those are the people. The tendency in the self-control bias is we are also when you're working in a group projects, they tend to think if anything good happens, they take the credit for the victory. If something goes bad, and then they blame it on the team they're working on. So those are the things you got to work on. That the next one is one of the most important things is the status quo bias. I always deal with my clients with the status quo bias. What they do is they invest their 401ks, whatever the retirement programs they have at the work, and they take the naive diversification because there are 10 funds available. One of them is bond fund, one could be international bond, other one is the growth stocks, the other one is a tech fund. They have those kind of funds they have because as an employer by law they need to give you 5 or 6 minimum totally diverse portfolios. So they invest equally. This is another bias, one nth rule. Basically, what they do is because they have the 100,000, they put 10,000 into each bucket. They think that is the diversification, and once they set it and they forget it, that is totally, totally, totally crazy thing. And it doesn't matter what happens to the market. And they think it's a dollar cost averaging, so they put every paycheck into on the wrong places, and they put it and set it and forget it. So it doesn't work that way. So you need to be careful at what you are investing and don't sit on that irrespective thick or thin. But you got to make sure if the market is in the economy is going slow, if the market is going in the correction mode, maybe you wanted to put more towards the bond portfolio rather than putting all your money into high flying high tech stocks. To maybe you wanted to put more utilities or more consumer staple firms where when the economy is shrinking, it doesn't matter, you still use your power, you still use your telephone. The utility companies, they still make money, and it doesn't matter how the economy is, but at the end of the day you need to buy the groceries. So those are the times companies like Walmart, Kroger, they don't go down. So you may need to do the balancing it out from fast aggressive growth, high tech companies, and then move them into more stable firms. So that's that you need to do that. So if you stick and stay to the original portfolio and ignore it, that's the status quo. That's not good. So you need to address that accordingly, and you need to rebalance your portfolio. It depends on the market conditions. Those are the things you need to be careful. The next one is endowment bias. Endowment bias is we value more to the holdings what we have, and we put high value for the stuff we own than the realistically. Let's say you wanted to sell your home, and your neighborhood homes are selling, let's say, $400,000. But when it comes to when you are buying the house in the neighborhood, you always think the prices are high and you wanted to look for the best possible price. But at the same time, when you are selling, what you think is your property worth more than the realtor is telling, the market data is telling. So you got to do the how the market is going on, and just because your grandfather painted this room, or your grandmother or your dad built the the kitchen and they got the hall, but because you have so much emotionally connection, and you put the cedar wood, and you put the hardwood in hardwood floors, and because of that, your house worth a lot more than your neighbor's house. It may be not that way, but it doesn't matter how you build. But when the end of the day, when you are selling your house, they have the relative metrics what they go for, and maybe they for square foot they sell the neighbor in the neighborhood, and all those things. So how far you're from schools, and of course police, crime, and all that, those things, the ads, the and the dynamics, and the schools, how far you are from the good schools, the great schools, how far you are away from the highways and traffic and all those kind of things. So a lot of things happen, but when it comes to our own, we value more. So that's all, that's what it is, endowment bias. So when you are looking into things, just because your grandma worked in one of the big companies, she gave you some stocks, hang on tight, and that company is great when she was young. That's like so-called Xerox company is no popular anymore. So you rather want to sell and move on. But you don't feel like it because your grandma gave it to you. So those are the things you got to be careful. That's the endowment bias. Okay. That one is the regret aversion. Regret aversion is what happens if I do something? You feel, oh, what if I buy? I may lose the money, if I bought it and it's it may not go high, those kind of things. So you don't take the decisions for the to avoid the regret. So those are the things you need to be careful on that part. Having said that, finally the takeaway is cognitive errors stem from reasoning errors, emotional biases are from the feelings. Awareness and structure help mitigate the bias. Understanding the biases improve the quality. So what which bias the most common among the investors? According to you, what your most common bias? How can the advisors can help clients overcome the perseverance bias? And can emotional bias ever lead to better outcomes? Those are the things you wanted to talk. With that, I upload this video today 3:30. I don't have the live class, and by all means, I upload this and watch it at your home. And please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.